A very good morning to you. Welcome to the last edition of the show for the week. Promises to be exciting as always. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
And I'm Cecilia Omogbe, and this morning we're starting with the FA Cup. It's the final showdown between Arsenal and Chelsea. For Arsenal, they need to win this to get into Europe next season. If they don't, it simply means for the first time in a very, very long time, we will not be having Arsenal in Europe.
All right, so a season without playing in Europe is looming for the Gunners, but for Chelsea, they are already in the UEFA Champions League. Of course, there's also the bragging right of at least having a trophy if they win. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow at Wembley when both sides square off for the prestigious competition right there in England. All right, let's go to the NBA. A lot of us were excited ahead of the NBA restart, and we were not disappointed. Of course, the Lakers, led by LeBron James, were able to squeeze past the Clippers. Of course, LeBron James' free throws ensured that the Lakers won that game. And I mean, he scored with 12.8 seconds left. And of course, the Lakers won 103 points to 101.
Yeah, he had to get that winning clutch there, as they always do. All right, that's how we'll start. Okay. Also on the program, the British Grand Prix is coming up this weekend. And of course, there's a little bit of dent to this because you have Sergio Perez actually testing positive for coronavirus. So he will be missing this weekend's Grand Prix. But the news coming from it is the fact that Lewis Hamilton finally said he will still remain in Formula One for the next 3 years. So we know that at 38 will still be racing. That's a good one. But then a new contract, well, we'll wait till the end of the year to know how that will happen.
All right, so that's it. That's how we start the show today. Talking about Formula One. A lot to talk about Formula One. There's the story about Sergio Perez, the story about Lewis Hamilton, and there's the story about the guys, preparing for the double header at Silverstone. The guys, a lot of issues on their minds, but of course, they're trying to stay focused on competing at Silverstone. A lot of them talking about their cars, talking about change in the backroom staff. You know, a whole lot of this going through their minds. And you might want to say Lewis Hamilton seems not to be really focused on all of those things. Yeah. He's talking about his movement, he's talking about his activities, he's talking about he wants to race, like he's seeing what the others are not seeing the bigger picture. But then again, he's a champ. Maybe that's
he's not having any of such problems. I mean, their car is actually good. They've not had any faults compared to what Ferrari had to suffer at the beginning of the season. And of course, you also have the Red Bull also suffering some issues. But then Mercedes, they don't have anything like that. That's why their drivers not be bothered about that. But let's hear from those that are really concerned about how their season started. Of course, they are not happy with them. Talking about Red Bulls, Red Bull guys, you have the likes of Max Verstappen and also
Alex
Albon. Then you have the other guys at Charles Leclerc, and of course Ferrari, where you have Sebastian Vettel. All of them reacting to how their cars have actually performed this season, from the mechanical issue and how they want to turn it around and have a better race at the weekend. And of course, you know, when you're talking about Sebastian Vettel, what usually comes to mind is the fact that
where are you going?
So he had
what
to
are you doing next?
answer that. Specifics on when and the team he will be going to. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. He's really focused on ending the season.
I can help Sebastian out. I just give him 3 words.
Please do.
Don't rush me.
Okay.
Anytime you're not asking him anything about the race, just don't rush me.
Don't rush me.
Just don't rush me. I'm going to make it. Don't rush me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. Let's talk about the driver that have tested positive for coronavirus. That's more like a dark shadow over the Silverstone because of what happened with Recent Point, a driver. So he's self-isolating, and all those that have been in contact with him are also self-isolating. But then the race, of course, will go ahead. Remember at the beginning of the season when the CEO said no matter what happens, if a driver tests positive, the race is obviously going to continue. No cancellation or anything. So it's not affecting the British Grand Prix because they already have a replacement for him.
Yeah, sad one. Not that you put him in the contenders box anyway, but
Sergio Perez is a big boy.
He is, you know. But for anybody, you know, contracting this, wherever the person is speaking, you know, other things that were going through their mind when they were doing all of those things, and I'm even surprised Donovan Mitchell said, we need to do more.
Of course.
This is not enough. For those who are saying, okay, enough, we've heard you loud and clear, say, no, we've not done enough until you hear us, and make the necessary changes.
Especially those that are saying that, look, focus on playing your sport, focus on basketball, focus on football, but they're saying, look, this is not the time for that. Activism in sport,
I remember,
come to stay, and they're going to continue.
I remember, was it LeBron, and somebody told him, shut up and dribble.
Yes, it was the one.
So
it was actually the one.
It really gets them. Somebody said, no,
said they're not
like they're telling them it's not your place to comment, as if those things don't affect them. It's not your place. Just shut up and dribble. Focus on your basketball. These are some of the things. I'm happy Donovan is saying, look, we've not done enough. And as we go to the results now, you remember this guy, Donovan and Rudy Gobert, had their issues, but they put all that aside and played the game.
Everyone
and their team won.
Their team won. That's the remarkable thing about that game. And of course, let's just take a look at the results, from last night, starting with the first game. Of course, you just listened to the players after that victory. New Orleans Pelicans and also the Utah Jazz. It was the Utah Jazz that won this one. But the good thing is Pelicans had Zion Williamson, who had to, wait almost till last kick of, before the game, for us to know that he will be playing. At first, it was listed questionable, but he played 15 minutes. He was able to score just 13 points in that 15 minutes. And at that time, they were leading, but somehow the Jazz rallied and they were able to win it. That's the first game in the return of the NBA in the bubble. Donovan Mitchell contributed 20 points. Rudy Gobert had 14 points and 12 rebounds, so that was what mattered most. They got that one. And the other game of the night happens to be between the Lakers and, of course, the Clippers. It was the Lakers won by just 2 points. The two games were close, won by 2 points.
I mean, for the other game, let me just quickly say, a lot of fans should forgive Rudy Gobert now because he was responsible for 6.9 seconds to go, sank the free throws, and they won that game. Similar circumstances, almost same scenario in the other game as well. And the big man that a lot of people always say runs away from those kind of moments. LeBron stepped up, and took responsibility and ensured that his team won.
Yeah, and the games for later tonight, you have the Nets and the Magic Blazers, and of course the Memphis Grizzlies. Wizards will be in action against the Phoenix Suns, and the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics will also be another game. But then let's focus on the game for today. The star match, of course, was the game between the Clippers and the Lakers. And this game, lived up to the hype. I would say, I know some people were not really happy the way it started, but these guys haven't played a competitive basketball for a long time until they did the scrimmages and all that. Not the final game of our Lakers scrimmages, we had most of the players were rested, and in this particular game, LeBron James, as you mentioned earlier, was the one that had that layup just a few seconds to go, and that's how they were able to clinch that. But then the Lakers were led by Anthony Davis. He had 34 points and 16
And this was somebody that was a bit doubtful before, but came on to good effect, 34 points, and, helped his team.
Yeah, LeBron had 16 points, 11 rebounds. Of course, that was a double-double, another one. So they stay clear of the Lakers in the Western Conference. Paul George here, him right there, and he topped the scorer for the Clippers with 30 points, and Kawhi Leonard added 28 points. But then that just wasn't enough because the Lakers, more like on the night, you had other players contributing, and as a result of it, they were able to win that. But then there's something that Anthony Davis said when they, after the game. He says, look, the rhythm is not there. They're still looking for that rhythm. But then the win over the Clippers shows that they have a whole lot to do, in the sense that they can actually go ahead and,
So what am
I saying?
Other teams should be scared.
Okay.
Other teams should be scared. That's just it. Don't say what you wanted to say, but let's just say other teams will be scared. Because if you say, look, we're not where we should be, and you're still able to do this over Clippers that has some of the players that you just mentioned, and if they can get into their rhythm, so it's going to be scary then.
It's going to be scary. 50-14 this season, so they're moving closer to clinching that #1 seed in the Western Conference. And so Anthony Davis is saying that they're focused on actually improving that record. We'll see how it goes. But then that's all for the NBA. Tonight, of course, we're also waiting for more
All right. Okay, still talking about basketball, but not in the NBA this time. We told you yesterday that our own Cecilia Amorgwe, sitting next to me here, will be talking with Michael, Eric, Instagram Live. They talked about a whole lot of things. Unfortunately, the time is not enough to tell you everything they said. We're going to give you excerpts of what they talked about, but you were with him talking about a whole lot of issues yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not easy for you as a player to win championships and also have that dream, to keep on. And also advice to the people who really want to get into playing professional basketball. And the fact that one thing I also picked up was the fact that he said, look, he's planning to actually have a camp, named after his father, Jericho, of course, a camp, it's going to be the Jericho Junior Camp, where they can actually have young players who are aspiring to become basketball players. They can get there and also have opportunity.
It can be a springboard for them,
of course, to play the game. But the excerpt, as you mentioned, that we took from it happens to be when he was talking about the coach, Mike Brown. Of course, that discussion will always come to play. The coach took them to the World Cup, did a fantastic job. But the NBA feel, okay, we actually need to build this team. Let's get someone to actually join. They brought in Mike Brown. And, Mike Brown, of course, we listened to LeBron actually talking about him.
I mean, what else can you say about Mike Brown?
That's it. I mean,
Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors.
He's a winner. He's a winner. So he also has a lot to say concerning Mike Brown. Let's listen to him. What he's going to be bringing to the D Tigers as, the coach of the team.
I think he will bring his own unique style of coaching, which is the experience he has under his belt. Every coach has their style. Every coach has coaches have their uniqueness to them. With him, the experience of coaching great players like LeBron James and all those high level, right now he's currently with Golden State Warriors. All the things he has under his belt and all experience, imagine bringing it to the group of guys we have. It will be unique also because it will be different, and it will also change the dynamic of how Nigerian basketball is viewed. And unfortunately, he's not an indigenous coach, but he's also a great coach. We could use his help very well, and we definitely know it's going to change the culture of the game. It's going to change how we're viewed around the world again. It's not just an African country coming to compete. It's an African country with a lot of experience under the belt. It's an African country with a good coach behind them. So they need to watch out for us, basically. So that's how I see this hiring of Coach Mike Brown, in my opinion. It would be one of those things that would challenge teams to really, really focus when they're playing against us.
Welcome back. We're listening to Michael Eric talking about Mike Brown and what he's going to bring into the team. But guys can talk to us on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what we want to do next. Let's bring you into all that we're doing on the show. It gets interesting when you let us know how you feel about all of the things happening in the amazing world of sports. In case you're joining us for the first time, this is how you can do it. You can tweet at us at channels_sports. You can let us know how you feel. We've shown you the Instagram chat that Cecilia Moroge had with Michael Eric. You're still going to listen to some of the other things that he said. We've talked about Formula One, the British Grand Prix. We've also talked about the NBA and the show of solidarity, the protest, against racial inequality. And a whole lot of other issues. We're still going to be talking about athletics as well. So let us know how you feel about all of these issues. You can also send us a mail, sportsthismorning@channelstv.com. So send us a mail. You can get across to us like that. All right. So still talking about Michael Eric on the show. Not only did he talk about what Mike Brown is going to bring to the D Tigers, he also talked about the kind of preparation that can make D Tigers excel at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So let's listen to him. Then we'll come back for more Sports This Morning.
I think it will depend on how prepared we are once we get to the training camps. To me, in my opinion, I think it would depend on what we experience with the players that are going to be ready to go and the players that are healthy to go. But once we know that roster, and once we get into that first period of training camp and that first period of expectation will be known right after that. Because right now everything is uncertain. We don't know anything. We don't know who is invited or who's not going to be invited. But with that opportunity of knowing that Coach Mike Brown could lead us, and also opportunity of seeing those players that are willing to join our national team, if once we get to training camp, we will have a sense and a direction of, okay, this might be what it is. But at the moment, I have no answer for that. It's uncertain. It's very uncertain. Yeah.
All right, so that's Michael Eric. A lot of interesting things. I mean, you're mentioning some names that want to join the squad. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Mike Brown is like magnets. It's going to attract the best, especially those top players who know they won't make it to the U.S. team. So probably feel they have a better opportunity with Nigeria. Although some will quarrel about whether or not those guys have any Nigeria roots. But then again, does it matter? You know, some will say, does it matter? I think I'm part of those who say it doesn't matter. If you want to play for us, fine.
That's cool. The more the merrier. I mean, the better you are. I mean, just look at any player that is in the NBA. It's good. So because I also ask him question. I mean, NBA level player. Ask him a question about NBA and EuroLeague, which is better. I mean, he had to pick the NBA. He plays for you in EuroLeague, but then he even had to pick the NBA. So when these guys are coming in, you know they're going to bring a whole lot into the squad. Bam Adebayo, for instance, just want to play for Nigeria. Come on.
All right.
I mean, he's a Nigerian, of course, we all know that, but then.
And that's the time, I think the time is also in our favor, so allow some people make up their minds.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, if Bam knows he's not going to make the U.S. team.
Yeah, I mean,
Nigeria is available.
Full of the players that were collected at the point, so I think he's got an opportunity to be an Olympian. Just come join us, and he'll be an Olympian, which is easy. One thing I'm going to take away from, because I actually asked him the question on how far they will go at the Olympics. And he says something he really can't say. Our preparations obviously will depend on our performance.
Exactly.
So preparations is really key.
I'm not worried about the squad as much as I'm worried about the quality of preparation we get. I mean, a lot of people are paying attention to Nigeria now.
Now,
we're having some top players. And it's even because of those top players. I mean, in spite of whatever you want to say about the NBBF, getting our team associated with Mike Brown is a decision that is just up there. It's up there. And so we'll see. I'm not worried about player selection. You know, sometimes I'm not worried about all of that. I'm just worried about the quality of preparation that we get. That will determine. And that's why Michael Eric can't really say how far he thinks we can go. Even he doesn't know if he's going to be in the squad, which for me, I think is interesting. Will make every player stand, play, do your best, ensure that you get to that team. Because now he knows if players like Dinwiddie are saying they want to play that team, so he knows that it's going to be on merit.
Yes.
You have to be better than those kind of players to make it to the national. So that side is good, but preparation-wise...
It's key, but I trust the NBBF, Nigeria Basketball Federation, to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They did the preparations for the World Cup in China, despite the fact that the money was really coming.
Yeah.
You know, they went ahead to get the best of preparations for the team. And Olympics, of course, I trust they will also want to do that. Right, let's leave that basketball and talk golf now. Bruce Koepka, of course, he's having a fit day, right? Yeah, he's having a good day. He fired an 8 on the past 62 in the opening round of the WGC FedEx at St. Andrew Invitational on Thursday night to get his title defense in Memphis on the way. So that's a good way to have a good flying start for Bruce Koepka, the way he started. So it simply means that with this, he may have struggled, you know, post-COVID, since golf returned, because there's still COVID right now. Let's leave it and quickly go to the FA Cup. Right, FA Cup is happening this weekend. Arsenal needs to win a trophy. And the good thing is, I was reading through people's prediction where, there's some guys who predicted that. The prediction is, no matter what happens, the right prediction was a new manager is going to win the FA Cup. I'm like, okay. And the other person also predicted that you're going to be having a coach who has played in a club and is coaching that same club, winning it. So at the end of the day, there's really no prediction because most of them it's just smartness, because all of those things apply to Frank Lampard and Mikel Arteta. But let's just say tomorrow at Wembley, these two teams would... Look, it's still a trophy. You could say that, well, Chelsea have already in the UEFA. They still need this. Because at the end of the day, if Frank Lampard wins this, for all those people who've been criticizing it, he can point to this and say, I didn't get to sign the players that I wanted, but I still got you to the Champions League and I still won
the FA Cup. For Mikel Arteta, I think it's even bigger for Mikel Arteta because if he wins this, then it could be a substitute for, okay, well, Unai Emery has always taken us to Europa. So I did as well, and I also gave you a trophy. So for both sides, it's important. For both sides, it's important.
But I think for Chelsea, yes, for Frank Lampard, I mean, he finished 4th, which was great. Chelsea, they're in the Champions League. But then winning his first trophy as a Chelsea manager, knowing that he has won this title before, is also great and also historic for him also. So these two managers,
it's the same. For Mikel Arteta, he's won it also as a captain for Arsenal. So it's going to be interesting. I don't even know, as a neutral, you'll be very happy. Both sides, you know, when they play against big teams, they have a different approach. When they get against small teams, another approach. So it's going to be interesting how they play this game. But if I want to say anything about this game, it's going to be, it looks like it will be drab. Because both managers will not want to lose, because this means a lot. So I don't see any of these teams flying out of the blocks, being reckless, going into all attack. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think
Okay, do you want to predict?
No, I wouldn't.
You're not going
No, I wouldn't.
the way of, the likes of Deji Omoto Ibu was actually the one that predicted that predictions for FA Cup, a new manager will win his first trophy. I'm like, okay.
All those things are true. All those things are true. Yeah.
That's his own prediction. So you're not going to go the way of that.
I wouldn't, even though you're talking about somebody I respect a lot. So, but I want to be safe. So I'm not going. But what he said is true. Whoever wins is the new manager. So that's why I said.
You go the way of Nodi that said a player that has played in this club before.
Still the same.
Still the same.
Still the same thing. You're talking about people who are smart, very, very smart. So we'll see what happens.
That's what
with
we call sitting on the fence. Now, let me take a tweet from someone who is bold enough to actually predict. Shedrack Gabriel. He says that I don't see Arsenal beating Chelsea in this FA Cup final for the 3rd time. Both teams are not defensively solid, but Chelsea has more than enough quality players to topple Arsenal. 2-1 to Chelsea is my prediction.
Yeah,
see?
That person is bold. That person is bold.
That's what I like.
Even as a neutral, it's hard for me to call. You know, it's hard, but we'll see. But what I can say, without fear of contradiction, is that it's very likely this game will be drab. Very likely.
Drab.
Very.
You're just wicked. I want to enjoy a good game tomorrow.
I want to as well. But we are hearing that you know, some of the players is likely Kepa might still not get a chance to be a goalie.
I will drop him.
He appears Frank Lampard has already
made up his mind
about him. On the Arsenal side, it's too late for the German, Skodran Mustafi. The injury, it wouldn't be able to get into this thing. In terms of firepower, you might want to look in the direction of the Gunners. You look at, they have a player who has 22 goals. They also have some players who've come in with a lot of goals as well. So we'll see. And that man in your picture, even though they've not settled all the issues surrounding him, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is a weapon on his own. Either he's playing in his normal position, out on the left, just don't let him get the ball in vital areas, because if he does, you're seriously in trouble. Got 3 chances against Man City, put 2 behind the goalkeeper, and he scored. So
and that was the end.
And that was it. That was it.
Chelsea will just have to be careful. Less mistakes.
Yes, on the strength of a very solid defensive performance. You know, and when he got the chances, he buried it. If I want to flip it and look at Chelsea, I think what is working for them is the guys up front. The guys up front, and Olivier Giroud seems to have
find a way,
some sort of a renaissance. The problem with Olivier Giroud when he was at Arsenal wasn't that he wasn't scoring, but a lot of people accuse him, the same way they accuse Mesut Ozil of disappearing in the big games. That's the only thing they have. But it seems that he has found a way to, you know, douse all of that, and you know, is doing well now. So we'll see. I think the question will be who has a weaker defense.
Okay, pick one.
I don't know.
Okay.
Who has a weaker defense? I don't know.
If you have to add goalkeeper, I'll say Chelsea. But if you remove goalkeeper, I'll say Arsenal.
Goalkeeper.
Okay.
Funny, you're right. The same David Luiz against Manchester City that we were saying, I mean, world-class performance.
yeah.
Next game, calamitous performance. Last game of the season, just, topsy-turvy, always going up and down. So I think you're right. Goalkeeper, even though it's Martinez, solid.
Yeah, it's solid, yeah.
The defenders, whatever the combination, maybe it's Luis and any other person, is always...
You're like, what's going to happen next?
You don't just know.
Yeah, it's always a problem.
You never know.
It's always a problem. Before we quickly go on a break, let me just mention this one. Newcastle fans, of course, they're really confused and heartbroken. Why? Because the takeover bid will not happen. So it's been on and on. I think Mike Hughes can actually give a sigh of relief because at a point, any press conference is attending, the question will come up. They were like, okay, let's wait for the takeover first. Yeah. But then it's not going to happen. Again.
All right, the worst nightmare is over for Newcastle.
Okay, well, let's leave Infantino with that. Good luck to him. See how he can exonerate himself from all this. But he has insisted that he hasn't done any wrong. Let's come to Nigeria. Talk about Osinachi Ohale. She has actually signed for Serie A Women's League outfit, AS Roma, 1-year deal on disclosed fee. Usually, you don't get to know how much they're being signed or no. And then AS Roma tweeted and said, welcome, Osinachi. So she sealed that switch after she left Real Madrid. And the team, CD Takon was actually the team before, they became a Real Madrid, renewed after her contract expired. So from Spain to Italy, you have another player going to Italy. I think she will be the third Nigerian to be playing for Italian Serie A. We've had 2 other players, playing in that league before now. So she's really happy, and she says it's a new experience for her, so she's ready for the new challenge and wants to explore all the possibilities it's going to bring. So she scored 2 goals, and I remember she scored 2 goals in 5-1 win over Sevilla in January, and that was really also a good one for her.
All right, good one for Osinachi Ohale, and hoping that all of this will translate into an improved performance from the Super Falcons. Hopefully, all the girls start getting all of these mega deals, and before you know it, we're playing against USA and we're sitting down comfortably because we know... Don't choke.
No, the Italian Serie A, the Women's League will start in September, so we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on that one. But I mean, I'm optimistic also because we have our girls across the world. All we have to do is consistency. If these girls are always together, play games together, international friendlies and all that, have a steady coach and not have one for 1 season and the next year the coach is out and you wait for another 1 year, no footballer. When was the last time we played football? Since we were out of the Olympics. No, I understand there's COVID and all that, but I love what NFF president said. I mean, August is starting. August 1st. Okay, we'll start the countdown on Monday. I mean, he actually promised that once the international window is opened in January, they start playing international friendlies, and before that, in August, they're going to get a new coach. So the countdown is going to start on Monday. If they're going to get that. Because once you have that, you know that, okay, the girls can actually gather together to be playing games. Because we know next year there's no Alcon this year, and of course there's no next year. Except the Champions League, and it's for those in Africa. What happens to the international stars? How do they come together?
It's friendly. That's the only way out.
All right. So we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. Move on to the papers and probably a couple of tweets as well.
Yeah, I'll just do the papers. Let me start with Sporting Sun this morning. Okay, Social, how I picked Igalo and others. Okay, he's saying something here. How did he do that? Find out. Sporting Sun. Saudi Royals pull out of Newcastle bid, of course. It's after so much issues and troubles and human rights issues and so many issues, copyright issues, broadcasting, EPL, in Saudi Arabia without actually paying for the content and all that. There were so many issues in that, so it was always going to go this way after so much trouble. But there was one story that came out. They said it's the Premier League clubs that didn't allow the deal to go through.
Conflicting stories. Even the Premier League said the Newcastle decision was always going to be a footballing decision, no politics involved. So a lot of information flying around.
They don't want too much Arab money, maybe. Okay. Elaho says Osimhen can win Africa Footballer of the Year. Well, of course, we know that. But what we're looking for is the World Player of the Year. Yeah,
hopefully. Hopefully. You just have to hope is the operative word. I mean, anything can happen. And but talking about the CAF African Player of the Year, if there's any player currently on the books of the Eagles that you think with the steady progression can be mentioned in that direction, has to be his secret.
He's the one, yeah. So that's why he needs, I love that. Yeah.
That's why a lot of us are interested in his next career move.
Yeah,
because he
Napoli.
has to be good. He has to be good.
You know, when you're in Italy, okay, but he needs to perform so well because when you have Sadio Mane and Mo Salah keep doing some things with
Never
Liverpool
can tell.
in England.
You never can tell.
All right. Lampard contacts Barcelona's keeper. Okay, Ter Stegen. Now, interesting. Ter Stegen to Chelsea. Never can tell.
Well, there have been stories about a rift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people went as far as saying they had issues with Lionel Messi at some point. Not proven.
Mm-hmm.
Not proven. So anything can happen if you can put the money on the table. Anything can happen.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is more realistic than Oblak.
It can happen.
Oblak. Okay, it can happen. All right, Suarez denies
But
MLS.
what all of those stories show you
Mm-hmm.
is confirming the open secret that Lampard is not comfortable with Kepa.
Of course, he's not.
That's what I'm saying. It confirms
The open secret.
that Lampard is not comfortable with Kepa.
Okay, pa. Sorry, guy. Oh, yeah, complete sport.
Complete sports. I think we should say Sporting Life.
Sporting Life. Okay, Sporting Life is the next one here. And Arsenal and Chelsea just 24 hours to go. Aubameyang back to inspire Gunners. Christian Pulisic is 100% fit. So
That's good news.
good news for Chelsea fans.
fans.
So they should be happy about this. Giant offer. Inter Milan wants Messi in deal worth 260 million euros. That's money.
Huge money.
Okay. Bayern to offer Alaba to Barcelona. Okay.
Okay, all right. So our last one for review, let's quickly run through it. Complete sports, that's, there you go. On the bottom strip, you have Ozil would leave Arsenal this summer. That's coming from his agent. A lot of people say, look,
Another Gareth Bale.
if you're not playing, I mean, you're collecting this huge amount of money. Why not just leave? There's a story about Braithwaite. Barca looking to offload Braithwaite. Also,
Why did they get him in the first place?
yeah. Man City agree, £41 million, arcade deal. Everton to offer cash plus Iwobi for Zaha. That's interesting. That's the lead story. We'll see what happens.
That
But
can be true, ever.
you never can tell. There are a lot of strange stories at this time. You know, this is the period where we have the showdown at Wembley. That's the FA Cup final between Chelsea and Arsenal. So
We have to leave the studio.
that-
Chimezie Obiwabo
yeah.
is already standing by.
Okay, all right. So that's how we wrap things up today on the show. We do hope that you enjoyed everything. This is the last edition for the week. And join us again on Monday for another edition. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good weekend.